I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth by Mr. James Watson and Mr. Patrick Byrne. We will get to the boys in just a moment, but first, the first commercial you saw was for Driven to Save Lives, driventosavelives.org. We are giving them a special shout out tonight, and an individual, a hero, a special shout out tonight. Justin Owen lost his life last weekend while qualifying for a USAC National Sprint Car Tour event at Lawrenceburg Speedway. His family made the decision, and he made the decision in advance. He was an organ donor. 80 lives will be changed by the gift of life from Justin Owen. We used to hear numbers like 4 people were saved, 5 people were saved. 80 people are going to live a great life because of the gift of one man. Justin Owen, we salute you. May you rest easy. And the USAC sprint cars are going racing this weekend. We're going racing tonight here from Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Let's bring Mr. James Watson into the booth here because, James, this race I think has the potential to be a little bit interesting. A lot going on here, a 22-car field at a place that we don't get to visit very often.
Yeah, like, it's weird. You really don't see this track used a whole lot. Usually it is used for more developmental series, so I suppose that this is a good fit for it. But it's weird. It's such a small and quick little circuit. I'm curious to see how our drivers are going to navigate this. Like, you're not really going to have a whole lot of time to breathe. You know, people joke that it's basically like an oval because it kind of is. It's really short, it's really fast, kind of goes in one direction for the most part. You still have a decent amount of passing zones. You still always have turn 1 if you're brave enough. You have the Druid hairpin. So I'm interested to see how they're going to navigate this.
Yeah, and Patrick, this is a championship that has a lot going on to it. The U.S. Open Wheel C class is what we are looking at right now. And quite frankly, the more that we look at this championship, the more this gets interesting as the season goes on. It is a tight battle in the point standings as we're kind of approaching the midpoint of the season here at week number 6. Still a lot to go on. A lot of drop weeks could possibly happen. This championship fight is not over.
Yeah, and this is a perfect size track for these little cars. They don't make a lot of horsepower. It's straightaways here aren't very long. It's not like when we go some of the bigger tracks like Spa or even Okayama that we saw a couple weeks ago, where it's almost like you're drag racing for most of the race. Here, it's very short, very quick straightaways, a lot of high-speed corners. Then you come into turn 2 here, this very, very tight, narrow hairpin. It's going to be an absolute heater tonight. I'm expecting a lot of two-wide racing, a lot of fighting going on, maybe even some contact.
Yeah, it's a distinct possibility here as Brian Labarge is on the top of the speed charts as it stands right now. Lap time of 41.835 seconds. It is not a lot of time to get around here. Nicholas Daly, he's second quick, 41.836. It's showing goose eggs at the top of the board. That could get a little bit tighter. Pick up Simon Fell as he is working his second lap of qualifications. David Porcelli not out on the racetrack yet. He is carrying the number 1 plate tonight. Also, just getting out onto the racetrack is Timothy Dells. He is piloting car number 7. Also, the 21 and 22 are not out on the racetrack. They may be electing to start from the back of the grid or the pit lane. Simon's second lap going to be 42.862 seconds. It is an improvement, but not enough of one to get him up towards the top of the board. See what lap number 1's going to look like for Timothy Dells. Well, it looks like lap number 1 is not going to score. Right now, it's Labarge, Daly, Yoshikawa, Paddock, Hazelworth. Your top 5, Kahn, Holler, Karszewski, Shire, and Heath. Back through the top 10. Some interesting names here tonight, James, that I'm surprised we don't have some of our big names. Ted Burns is not in the show here tonight. Carter Lundy not in the show. This really could be open to almost anybody. Oh, buddy, big wiggle there for the 7.
Yeah, like, this track is an interesting matchup because so little people in the series have experience here, at least experience driving it in this car. So no one really knows what to expect. So we could see some surprises here. Like, you know, Brian up on the pole right now, which isn't really that much of a surprise if we're being honest, because, you know, we've touched on his vast improvement in the past couple races. It is interesting seeing a couple of names we haven't seen for Tim Dells, a good friend and member of the small Team Watson Racing community. He's spent a lot of time in this car. We don't see him a whole lot because, well, he's a wimp that doesn't want to stay up late for the SOF time slot. But he is one of the fastest guys in this car. Like, he can keep up with a lot of people. Like, he's been able to get some high points finishes despite not being able to make a single SOF race. So I'm curious to see how he does on his SOF debut.
Well, let's take a look. Lap number 1 for David Porcelli, going to come in about 3/10 back at a 42.124. Looking at the broadcast points championship heading into tonight's race, David Porcelli holds a 9-point lead over Carter Lundy. Nicholas Daly is in 3rd, 20 points back of the leader. Ted Burns, 25 back in 4th. Everett Paddock, 28 back in 5th. With Lundy not in the show and Teddy B not in the show, chance for some guys to try to make up some ground here. On the Indy Pro side of things, Porcelli with a 1-point lead over Everett Paddock. It's another 19 back to Nagisa Yoshikawa in 3rd, and a very tight battle. 1 point separating Nicholas Daly, Wes Shire, Ted Burns, Richard Holt. Holt and Carter Lundy are tied for 7th. So we've got some great battles all the way through here as Porcelli goes quick time, 41.780 seconds. That was a heater of lap number 2, using every bit of the racetrack. I believe that's out of the left-hand turn. It's technically Graham Hill Bend, but we're going to call that one the left. And then the one up here, the Surtees, we're going to just call that one the other left.
Yeah, I like that. I was about to comment on Brian Labarge and Nicholas Daly tying up the front row. And David Porcelli comes and basically tells them, you guys need to go faster tonight.
Yeah,
With
adios,
the badass
amigos.
little slide at the end.
Of course. He's probably
Always the flair for dramatics. I gotta love David.
Stephen C. Thompson checking in here in the comments. Let's make sure that we're going to actually display this on the right graphics tonight. Took me almost half the show last night to figure that out. I'm good at what I do, people, I promise. Stephen C. Thompson saying, another poll opportunity for Brian. Love to see it. Yes.
Fact.
Yes. Jinxed it. Yes, you did.
First time.
Finally, it was not the commentator curse, it was a commenter curse.
Yeah, right? Like we're over here, like, first time?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Steven, I'm sure Brian is very happy with you and will not take his anger out on you at the next Fast Masters event.
We should do one of those tonight, by the way.
Yeah,
Something
I
fun
believe our friend
post-race.
Gary Moss was looking for something to do tonight, so maybe we can get a couple people together.
I think this could be fun. Let's take a look here, though, at the starting grid for tonight's race. U.S. Open Wheel C-Class Racing. Front row will be David Porcelli at a 41.780, lining up alongside the NASA meatball of Brian Lamarche, hopefully the only meatball he sees here this evening. Row number 2 will have Nicholas Daly in the Downforce Racing colors, lining up alongside Team Watson Racing's Nagisa Yoshikawa. Row number 3 will have the number 2 of Everett Paddock for TNT Racing with Downforce Racing, lining up alongside another Downforce Racing car, the law firm of Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. Let's see, there we go. Row number 4 will have the Dr. Dauber, number 10 of Mobin Khan, lining up alongside, I'm trying to remember this, the Citizens Climate Lobby, I believe is the sponsor, on the side of Mike Holler's number 8. Absolutely love the livery on that car. Row 5 will see Brian Karszewski lining up alongside the Homestead Coffee Tales from Rubicon, number 9 of West Shire. Row number 6, the Pennzoil Panther, the yellow submarine colors of Joseph Heath, with a Daniel Ricciardo, Dale Earnhardt inspired lid on that one. That is a fantastic choice of helmet. Lining up alongside another Team Watson Racing livery car, at least logoed car. This one belonging to Nietzsche Camargo. Row number 7 will have Tyler Stover lining up alongside the TNT Shock, number 11 of Simon Fell. The field takes off behind the iRacing safety car. Row number 8 will have Josh Wick in the 17 and W. Aaron Waller in car number 15. That one's going to confuse me as much as it's the PPG colors, and I'm not used to seeing that name attached to it. Thank you. I will screw that up this evening. Mike Long lining up on the inside of row number 9 alongside number 19 of Alfonso Leandro. Row number 10 will have Shane Holstein in the Rowdy Energy, number 20, lining up alongside Timothy Dells in the number 7. Row 11, Joshua Osborne and Calvin Niles. Neither of those cars setting time. I love the MCI livery on that one. That is a thing of beauty. Field behind the iRacing safety car as it pulls in. We are going to get ready to go racing here at Brands Hatch Indy. Green flags out, we're underway. Great start for Porcelli down to turn number 1. A little bit of a dive up the inside for Everett Paddock. Watching the rest of the field come through. I think we're all going to be through cleanly.
Oh man, almost contact here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Cow is shooting it up the inside.
Big dive by Hazelworth on Brian Lamarche. Oh, we got one car way off the racetrack. That's Alfonso Leandro, Mike Long going off the racetrack. Mike Holler trying to get back around Hazelworth on the outside. I said in the pre-race, this was either going to be a parade or an absolute rager of a race. And I have a hunch we might see the second of those two. Porcelli opening up about a 6/10 of a second lead. Everybody else is almost nose to tail or even side by side.
know, putt around and wait for their time to strike. You don't really have a time to strike. You need to strike now. This is where you need to make moves. Otherwise, you might not get that chance. You can't let the cars ahead get the opportunity to stretch their legs. There's no wait till there's a better opportunity. It's just full blast.
That loop through Druids at the top of the hill, the hairpin corner, that is going to be really important tonight, I think, because if you screw that corner up, Graham Hill Bend is pretty quick. Surtees is lightning fast, and it's really kind of only a lift of the throttle through what is turn 5, the beginning of which is called McLaren, the second half is called Clark Curve. It almost is like if you screw up Druids, you have absolutely screwed the boots for an entire lap until you get back to Druids.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
A little bit more power than what we're going to see coming up here, though, in the USF race in just a little bit. But James, I mean, you go ahead here. I'm excited for both of these.
What's interesting to me about this track is the track limits that you deal with is a lot different. Oh, there's a set. Oh,
wow. Guys with good internet connections there.
That was some sterling defense right there from Brian. Yeah.
Both Brian and Lisa are in the Chicago area, so there's not going to be a lot of net.
And also a lot more tax givens since, you know, they're not far from each other, so they can just go and yell at each other and something happens. Yeah. So, the track limits here are very interesting. Not quite what you expect, you know, we're used to Spa where you look at the line in 1X, but like right here, look at how much they take off the X. Look at that. That's not a 1X. Believe it or not, that is not a 1X. You can do all that and not trigger a 1X. It's incredible. It just makes no sense when you compare it to the stricter track limits we get at a lot of the current F1 circuits. You know, incoming West Rand here.
It's a good thing. Good.
But it's going to be on a mesh over. It's not exactly grass they're running over. It is
That's something interesting. I noticed that last night in the Sim Racers Club broadcast from Daytona. That track really rubbered in, obviously, in a long-distance race. Is that something we're going to see affect things here? Because you're not turning you're turning quick laps, but you're turning a lot of laps. This is a 33-lap race. It's not like Spa where you're going to turn 12 or 14 laps and call it a day. There's a lot of times every one of these cars are hitting the same corner.
The dynamic track, I don't think is very important on the roadside. Martin gets markers and run off the line. So they run over there. Probably not going to. So it's not something you really have to worry about. As much as you say you go inside from top line fast, and you try running low line, you're kind of moving around the line. You don't do that nearly as much.
Saw a little bit of a bobble there from Brian Lamarche. Gave up a couple of spots to Everett Paddock and Nagisa Yoshikawa. Porcelli and Daly holding serve here first and second. Yoshikawa is about 4.2 seconds back, and he has Everett Paddock in tow. Mike Collins still trying to hold off Alexander Wesley Hazelworth.
You know what, going back a little bit from what Patrick was saying, it's always interesting to me. Now, and I'm curious to see if other people feel this way. It always feels like to me that the less laps there are in the race, the shorter it goes, no matter how long the track is. It's like this track is much smaller than Spa, so it makes sense to have 33 laps. But it just makes the race feel so much longer. It just feels like you're traveling a lot longer distance, even though realistically you're still kind of traveling the same amount. I just don't understand it, but it just can kind of break up the race a lot easier in your mind. Like it's a lot easier to deal with like a 5-lap thirds than there are 11 laps. If that makes any sense to anyone.
It's kind of the repetition of the same over and over again. It's like 500 laps in Bristol is only 250 miles. And that feels way longer than, say, 200 laps in Daytona, which is 500 miles. In some ways it is very slow. It is true. But I believe it is a really good track.
A little bit of a wiggle there. I guess it's out of McLaren and into Clark. I don't know. This is one of those. I like that Britain has all of their racetracks have corner names. They're not numbers. It's not, hey, this is coming to turn 5. That's boring. But McLaren and Clark Curve are 2 parts of the same arc. And according to iRacing, it's only 1 corner.
McLaren just wanted their name on there so they could say they won the Triple Crown. That is next tier humor.
Speaking of McLaren Triple Crowns, livery reveals coming up this weekend at the Grand Prix of Long Beach. For the McLaren entries in this year's Indianapolis 500 celebrating Triple Crowns. Alexander Rossi will be running a papaya orange, allegedly, if they can get the right paint color this time. A papaya orange car celebrating Johnny Rutherford's victory in the Indianapolis 500. Cars driven by Pato Award and Felix Rosenquist will celebrate Monaco Grand Prix victory in 1994 and the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1995. Doing some research, interesting to note that no manufacturer has ever won the Indianapolis 500, the Monaco Grand Prix, and the 24 Hour of Le Mans in a completely home-built car. McLaren has won all 3, but with different engines in each. Ferrari obviously has never won the 500, but even going back through history, Maserati did well at the Speedway, did well in F1, never did anything with the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
They've run cars with 24 Hour Le Mans.
Yeah, but many years. Interesting that it's never been done by a single chassis engine constructor. Oh man, that may have been a little left side loving there from Mike Collar on Hazelworth. This is a fantastic battle. We're still not even halfway through this race yet. Also coming up will be the USF2000 race. That will be coming up at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Same fee. Don't have to go anywhere for that one. Tomorrow afternoon will be Camel GT from Road America, the Friday afternoon Camel Happy Hour. That race is going to be awesome. I'll tell you what, a bit of perfect defensive driving exhibition going on here by Mike Holland. Keep the car wide, don't leave any doors open, and at the same time, keep the pace up. It's not really losing all that much time to Brian Lamarge either.
This is kind of what I was trying to do last night in some racing coverage. Unfortunately, he got a little too inspired by his Dale Sr. paint scheme. Unfortunately, I still retain position.
Well, Hazelworth almost getting off track through Paddock Hill Bend, the exit of anyway. This battle is good. A little bit further back, West Shire fighting with Timothy Dells. These guys are going to be nose to tail in the battle for the 8th position. Also back in the field, a little further even, we have Momin Khan, Simon Fell, and Aaron Waller. This is sort of what, I don't remember which one of you said it, but we're going to see battles throughout the field here. And that's what we got here tonight.
Yeah, it's such a small compact track, and there's not a lot of corners here, so there's not a lot of between, not a lot of space to pick up more boost time. So you're kind of stuck around where you're stuck around.
Break for Joseph Heath. He is on pit lane now upwards of 7 minutes. Alfonso Leandro and Josh Wick out of the race very early on. Oh, Hazelworth off to the kitty litter that time. He is really pushing through Paddock Hill. Almost the case though, if you have that little off track, but it's like it builds you a gap. You get to work yourself back up, and maybe you catch them at a different point in the race. And it gives you a chance to think about that pass from a different angle.
Yeah, maybe gives you a little bit of a little bit extra speed. Try to do some sort of aggressive, but not too aggressive move. Something that you might not be able to do if you were a lot closer and tucked up to the rear takeaway.
Now working lap number 20 of 33. The gap is 2 seconds between David Porcelli and Nicholas Daly. Another 5 seconds back of lead Nagisa Yoshikawa in the third and final podium position. Yoshikawa can't breathe all that easy though. He's got Everett Paddock absolutely up the attenuator down to about a car length as they come through Clark.
Not a guy you want up there. Find a way around it.
So many jokes I'm staying away from at the moment.
Right. I like this YouTube channel and I really like it.
Wow, big off track for Yoshikawa.
Lap traffic making a big deal out of this race. Unfortunately, Yoshikawa gets taken out in the mess.
Oh, a little bit of net code, big spin, big hit. Yoshikawa is going to be done for the night. He immediately takes that car back to pit lane.
That is incredibly frustrating.
Team owner of Nagisa Yoshikawa's vehicle, James Watson, in the booth.
Oh, and Hazelworth goes off the racetrack as well.
I wonder if tire wear is starting to become an issue. These guys are just blowing their either brake markers or the cars are starting to stick in the way they were in the last 20 laps.
Well,
flips and crashes.
Oh, and there's a little contact.
Was there net code with that too?
Definitely not.
Yeah, that would look like actual contact.
I don't know. My eyesight's just not that good.
Well, the reason I say no net code, at least to me anyways, it looked like Mike Holler's car also moved. Usually if you have net code, one car kind of goes nuts. When it's actual contact, it seems like both of them, they kind of, have that bounce off each other. Down to 10 laps to go here at Brands Hatch Indy. gosh, we're going to have a ton of time to kill here. With it being only 9:31 in the East.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, we'll find something.
We don't need to be riffing about nonsense for half an hour. Today.
That is correct, especially when we start talking possibly about premature attenuation with Patrick, and then things really get off the rails.
Well, an attenuator party is something that happens at the end of the race, but if you hit the attenuator before the race, you have before the end of the race, you have prematurely attenuated.
That is correct.
There's no innuendo there, and I don't know what this is.
So now the question becomes, can Brian Labarge sneak himself back up onto the podium here? The gap holding pretty consistently at about a half second. And this is one of those times, ordinarily we're saying, hey, you got some time left. You've got 8 laps to go, so you're looking at the relative, you see the number where it is, you see the number of laps you have left. But these laps happen so incredibly quickly that it feels like it's go time now if you're Labarge. You have to start pushing.
Yeah, honestly, I would have been pushing the entire time. Like, this track and its passing zones are so difficult that can't really waste time and go for that move like I mentioned earlier, or like don't have the draft to help you out and give you passing opportunities that may not have been there. If you have the opportunity, you have to take it. And having an opportunity to pass someone like Everett doesn't really come across very often.
I'll tell you what, Paddock makes up about, well, the last couple of laps, he's gained about a tenth and a half out of Druids. Yeah, he did it that time through Grand Hill. That run down the hill, I believe that is Halewood Hill. No, Halewood's on the other side. The run down into Grand Hill Bend, it seems like Everett Paddock is able to pick up about a tenth or so. The gap is now sitting at 6/10. This is going to be tough for Brian Labarge to make this gap up. By the time they get to the top of the hill, Labarge has it down inside of 0.3 of a second. It is just Paddock is so much quicker on corner exit out of Druids. And some red mist driving out of Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. He goes new fastest lap of the race, 41.703. Pick up Hazelworth on West Shire. West slides a little bit wide. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle through Clark. Hazelworth looks like he may be able to clear down here to Paddock Hill Bend, though.
Almost contact there. West has to back out and shoot the car wide.
Fantastic move by Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. Back up to the 7th position.
By West, that was heads up driving, knowing it wasn't going to work and having to take evasive action before the contact occurred.
We'll get back here to the front as we're down to 4 laps to go. Lap traffic could come into play here for Everett Paddock. Labarge is going to be right there. It's 0.4 of a second out of Druids. The problem for Paddock is he might want to set this pass on the lap car up, but he's got to be concerned at least a little bit that Labarge is going to be there and could possibly take advantage.
Press that intimidator button, big red button on the controller, intimidate, trying to get Paddock to screw up one of his corners.
When I do that, the big red button is the start. And half the time I can't get it restarted.
No, when you do that, the big red button is the escape button.
That is exactly right. It's the eject button. That's what I need to add to my sim rig.
Ejecto-cito, cuz.
Oh, trouble moment, Con. Simon fell into the fence with 2 laps to go. Let's take a look at the instant replay. See what happened here to Con. Oh, the car just loops around. Nowhere for Fell to go. Both cars buried in the kitty litter.
Con.
Can't park there.
White flag is out. 1 lap to go for David Porcelli. This is a race that Porcelli, I think, controlled right from the drop of the green flag. He knew it was going to be important to get away, and he did just that on the initial start of this race and has been unchallenged since. Nicholas Daly back by 4.2 seconds. It's another almost 7 seconds back here to Everett Paddock and Brian Labarge.
Now Labarge is going to have to make his move like through the final corner, try and get on the outside and drag a race down the line.
Checkered flag in the air. David Porcelli picks up the win at Brands Hatch. Labarge held up by some lap traffic, and that will allow Everett Paddock to easily claim position number 3. Nicholas Daly will round out your podium. And Everett already has that car stopped saying, I am getting out of here. Results are official now.
Time to burn the tires off that thing. Say hi to Barney up there in the flag stand. Wave to all the marshals and get ready for some interviews.
Yeah, that's right. Wiggles and Giggles up on the flag stand.
Oh, did he stall it? There we go.
Porcelli burning them down. Oh, there's that Chad Knaus kiss. Just enough to screw up post-race technical inspection. Let's take a look at our race results. U.S. Open Wheel C going to be David Porcelli winning this one by 4.5 seconds over Nicholas Daly. Everett Paddock comes home 3rd. Brian Labarge and Mike Holler complete the top 5. 6 through 10 going to be Timothy Dells, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, Wes Shire, Brian Karszewski, and Tyler Stover. 11 through 20, Nieje Camargo, W. Aaron Waller, Mike Long, Shane Holstein, Mobin Khan, Simon Fell, the first cars out of the race. Nagisa Yoshikawa going out after the contact with the lap car after a great run that Nagisa was putting on here earlier in the race. Joshua Osborne, Joseph Heath, and Josh Wick back through the 20th position. Alfonso Leandro and Calvin Dials will complete tonight's 22-car field. We'll get ready for our instant replays here and get ready to talk to our race winners. There we got it. Let's bring in our race winner tonight, Mr. David Porcelli. And David, I'll tell you what, I said it towards the end of this race, but I think the initial start you looked at as pretty important here, and you would have to make a clean break. Otherwise, you would be locked into the fight. You were able to open up a 2 or 3 car length gap by turn 1, and you were unchallenged tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was critical to really get out of there because this track is hard to pass on, but if you're sitting in someone's draft and you get 33 laps to have a shot at it, I don't know how that's going to go. So I just opted for the easy Thursday night drive.
Yes, easy is one way to say it, but one of the things that we don't normally encounter here outside of Oval Week is the amount of lap traffic that you have to deal with. And that certainly came into play for a few drivers tonight. How was it at the front for you trying to get your way through some of these slower cars?
Well, it was just so important to create that separation to Nicholas before we caught up to those cars because there would be swings of, half a second, three-quarters of a second. So it was absolutely critical to build that gap before that started. And I'm glad that I was able to make that happen.
Well, the other big one here is in the broadcast championship points. You entered with a 1-point lead over Everett. That lead will expand by 5, I believe the number is, or 3 points, I guess. 15 for you, 12 for him. Still not over, though. There's a lot of work to be done here with, still 6 weeks left to go. We're only at the halfway point of the season.
Yeah, just got to finish strong, just like I did when I won the championship last time. So trying to keep my focus, keep my head down, keep it clean, and just bringing home these podiums like I'm doing.
All right, buddy. Well, congratulations on the win here tonight. And before we let you go, do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Absolutely. Shout out to Team Watson Racing and Satellite Racing. Hi to the family. Thanks to TNT and National Racing Network for putting on a killer broadcast every week. Hope to see you guys in the booth in about 45 minutes.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here. Let's bring up a guy now who we didn't even hardly look at or talk about tonight. And he, quite frankly, it's because he had a great run to second place. No issues, no real crazy anything for you here, Nicholas. Talk us through the night. Obviously, David able to get away on the start. Then it was kind of just an exercise in hot lapping for you.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lonely race for the most part. It's just me and lap traffic, I think. But yeah, I was trying to keep up with David a little bit. I could match him on a few laps, but definitely not over that whole stint. So he had pretty good pace.
This is one of those places we don't visit all that often. I enjoy the racing here just because it's kind of a throwback type road course for me. Short, very fast, and a lot of fun in these cars. What are your thoughts on running places like Brands Indy?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty fun little circuit. It's not too many corners or anything. I mean, I guess it's a little bit technical, but it kind of flows just really well. Love turn one. Just you don't have to mash the brakes. You kind of just softly apply the brakes and kind of adjust and trying to send it down down that hill. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, one of those places that lets you have a lot of fun driving it, a lot of different ways to attack it. Those are my 5 favorite kind of road courses to run. Congratulations on the podium tonight here, brother. And before we let you go, do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, as always, shout out to Downforce Racing. Shout out to you guys for putting on a great broadcast, and shout out to all the viewers. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here, Nicholas. And final Victory Lane interview of the night will be Mr. Everett Paddock. And I'll tell you what, Everett, it seemed like you had Nagisa that was hounding you for most of the race. He had his issue, the contact with the lap car, and Brian was right there to pick up the slack, and you did not have an easy go tonight.
Yeah, actually, it was Nagisa. Nagisa, I was behind him, right? I was behind both those guys, and
Oh,
got a little
okay.
lucky to get. Yeah, all good though, right? It was. I feel bad for Nagisa. He tangled with a lapper, and it's so tough to pass here. I would have had to do something crazy, so I feel bad for him. But that's racing.
That's racing, and you took advantage, able to hold off Brian. And it was interesting to watch that battle between you two because he would close it up to 3/10, sometimes a couple of laps even under 3/10 getting into Druids. You were just so darn quick out of that corner and down the hill. That really was the difference in being able to hold him off because it took him an entire lap to make that distance back up.
Yeah, I was trying to just do my usual stuff, just driving easy and be out on the gas hard and right. And he was trying to stick there. So that's just part of the trade-off of driving like that.
Yep, well, it was a lot of fun. Thank you very much for putting on a heck of a show for us here tonight. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, thanks to my TNT teammates, the DFR boys. Congrats to Nick and David for a good run. And, too bad for Nagisa. Brian also ran a strong race. Hats off to him. Thanks for the broadcast, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, brother. You too. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And, man, I'll tell you what, as we get ready to head back out to, the commercial break, at least initially, but then we'll be back here in just a couple of minutes with U.S. Open Wheel D. James, I think we see a little bit different race out of those cars because this is a place that lets you keep the momentum built up. And if you lose some of it, you have those chances to make it back up as well. Big run down the hill through Paddock Hill Bend. Big run down the hill out of Druids. You can make up some ground here that you might not be able to do with some of the other places those cars go to.
Yeah, James actually stepped away for a moment, so I'll take over for him. Yeah, this track, it's almost like a rubber banding, where kind of like what we saw last night. Someone makes a little mistake, gets through a corner a little slowly, especially dealing with lap traffic, and they give up a bunch of time. But then they pick that right back up when whoever's right behind them makes a very similar mistake somewhere else. And it's almost a very stop and go kind of track. You stop going into the hairpin, and then it's a lot of go, and then going through the big sweeping right-hander at the end, you're going slow again, and kind of rinse and repeat. It's a fantastic circuit. Actually, it reminds me a lot of Bridgehampton. The layout is very similar. Turn 1 is very similar. So it's the closest analog we have to Bridgehampton anymore.
Yeah, and James, I see that you are back here. What do you see as the biggest difference in terms of this racetrack between the Indy Pros and the USFs that we're going to see coming up next? Because I don't necessarily see this place as where being down 100 horsepower is going to be that huge of a difference.
No, but it's going to be interesting because you deal with a lot more off-throttle oversteer with the USF being open differential, and that can kind of get you in trouble in a lot of these corners, especially turn 1. So you're having to deal with a lot more of a unruly car than you do with the PM18. So it might catch a few guys out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something we could see here. But let's do this. We'll take our break now, and then we will come back here right at the top of the hour. As soon as we're loading into the U.S. Open Wheel D class session, we will come back on and we'll start running the commercials again and get you ready to go. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader right here on the National Racing Network.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt. I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Welcome back, everybody. More iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. Still Chris Graham, still James Watson, still Patrick Byrne in the booth. God, I can't read text messages from Bizzle before I go on air. Back here at Brands Hatch Circuit, this one, a couple of things that I didn't even think about leading into this race here, guys, and James, will come to you first. This is only an 11-car field. It's a small split of cars. That means it is going to be a crazy high I-rating field, and quite frankly, these guys are going to put on a wild show.
Yeah, it's the SOF is be astronomical. You know, the fact that you have so little cars in this race, you don't really have a whole lot of room to play with. Like, if you want the good points, if you're a championship contender, you have to nail it. Because even if you get fifth, you're gonna get a fraction of the points that you would if it was a single split, even with the amount of talent that's up in this top split.
Yeah, and especially when you have a guy like this one, Carter Lundy, in the show here, Patrick. We've said a lot of superlative things about this kid, but it seems like every time he's out on the racetrack, he does something else that we just go, wow.
Yeah, last week it was photo finish after photo finish, and not even photo finish. I mean, you had to get like a high-speed camera to decipher that finish. That was incredible. Week before that, he had some crazy overtake, like a Zanardi type maneuver. This kid, I don't know if he knows how to drive or if he just is like the Jesus of race cars. I mean, he's just that good.
You know what? It's funny. I was watching I saw a thing earlier today. Was Paul Azinger discussing, the pro golfer, discussing playing with Tiger Woods at the US Open at Pebble Beach in 2000. And he said, you know, I've never seen this kid hit a ball. I'm actually going to watch this opening shot. And he hit that first ball, and I turned and looked at my caddy and went, holy shit. And we did not see anything but dust behind him for the next decade. I don't know that Lundy's necessarily that good. Oh, there, but wow, what a save off the grass. Holy cow. He's quick on lap one. We'll see if it's going to hold on for the pole as we'll follow along here with David Porcelli. But that's the kind of feeling I get where you just watch certain things he does and you go, my God, this guy's good.
Yeah, it's too early to call if he's going to be the next Schumacher, next Senna, whoever of the iRacing platform, or even the real world racing. I don't think he's ever stepped foot in a real car before. I'm not sure he even has a driver's license. But I definitely can foresee him getting into one of the Pro Series here, possibly in the near future if he makes a qualifying attempt for it.
Yeah, actually, he is the #1 driver in the show here tonight with a 67.32 I rating. 63.76 for David Porcelli, who's carrying the #2. Nicholas Daly, this guy's just a slouch. He's only a 49.67 carrying the number 3. This
Slouch. Only like what, 10 times your iRating?
Yes. Actually, more than 10 times my iRating. Brian Labarge coming across the line. He will be 5th quick as it stands right now in qualifications. Following along with Timothy Dells, we're down to 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the qualifying session. Everybody has gotten their laps in except for Dells. He is coming around to complete lap number 1. We'll see what he can do here. I'll tell you what, we talked about the fact that these cars are going to be fairly close. The spread at the front is not as tight. It's a 1/10.5 for Lundy over Porcelli. But in order to find 1 second, you have to go back to last place, Nieje Camargo, at 1.3 seconds back. This field is going to be tight. You keep them bunched up too wide on the start, and all of a sudden you're talking about an absolute bum rush into turn 1.
Yeah, and these cars are, again, not nearly as fast as the DM18s. So everyone's going to be trying to keep momentum up. No one's going to want to have to jam on the brakes for an incident, so they're going to fan them out pretty wide trying to get through turn 1, and especially in the turn 2 in that sharp braking zone.
Yeah, the run up Halewood Hill, named after Mike Halewood, legendary British F1 driver. And then into Druid's Corner. Field already, just about everybody already out on the grid, just waiting for Carter Lundy. Let's take a look and show you the starting grid here for tonight's open wheel D-Class Series race. Carter Lundy for the Sim Racing Center, number 1 on the pole, lining up alongside the number 2 of David Porcelli. Row number 2 will have the Downforce Racing number 3 of Nicholas Daly, lining up alongside the number 7 of Franco Carnero. Row number 3, Brian Labarge, in what is a beautiful black and chrome livery, but we don't show the spec map. iRacing doesn't give us that. On these generated graphics, that number 5 machine is stunningly beautiful. Lining up alongside the number 6 of Timothy Dells. Row number 4 will have Richard Matthews lining up alongside Rod Eskew. Rod always puts in a good show here in these D-Class races. Joseph Heath, same paint scheme, same helmet. It's beautiful. I love it, lining up alongside Mike Collar in row number 5. All alone on row number 6 will be the number 10 of Nieje Camargo. The first part of this corner is called McLaren. You sort of straighten out a little through the second part called Clark Curve. Carter Lundy tries the pit lane fake out. It's not going to work on the parade lap. As the green flag goes in the air, top 4 are going to be nose to tail, top 5 nose to tail as they get to turn 1. Everybody gets through cleanly. Oh, maybe not through Druid's 3 wide, back in the pack.
That was risky. That's what I said from earlier tonight. You have to.
Oh, one car going around. That's going to be Joe Heath. You can't park there, bud.
You can, but you're not going to be very happy about it.
Can confirm. Carter Lundy, David Porcelli, Nicholas Daly, your top 3. They are breaking away from Timothy Dells, running in the 4th position. I'm not sure what this was in relation to because it was a half hour ago, but Jason Owens checking in saying, OMFG, that just happened. Yes, it did. Although it didn't just happen, it happened 34 minutes ago. Thanks for hanging out with us. that is correct. Something happened. Top 3 all nose to tail. New fastest lap of the race for Brian Labarge, side by side out of Paddock Hill Bend. Dell's holding off Cardero, but he's going to be there. Oh, that was abysmal into Druids. If you chop the nose off, that is absolutely abysmal.
Can't convert.
In fact, let's go from the rearward facing camera here of Timothy Dells. Look out the gearbox. See as he gets closer if there's a scuff mark on the very tip of that nose. I mean, he practically nipped the tip on that.
It still looks
Yes, the Honda logo on a Star Mazda.
Oh, these aren't Mazda. I thought these were Ford now.
No.
Ford Mazda Tech.
No, these are the exact same engine as in the Indy Pros. They are Mazda. They're not the rotaries. They're whatever Mazda went to after the rotary. It basically just has a restrictor plate on it.
Which the 2-liter Mazda is a 2-liter Ford with the Mazda logo on it.
Whoa, both of these guys disappearing. Dells and Cardero just flat disappeared off the racetrack. That is some wild net code I don't think I've ever seen before.
That
They got sent to the shadow. We will plug our buddy Wes Shire in his Yeah, they must have rolled the D1 on that. They're currently battling something in the shadow realm.
That was weird. Obviously, we've seen it happen with one car before. Never with two that just flat disappeared and instantly show up as out of the race. They just gone.
Ooh!
Big run wide for Porcelli. Porcelli may lose a spot here to Nicholas Daly, but Daly kind of straight lines the corner a little bit. Has to fall back in line.
Yeah, I wonder if those two geographically are in the same part of the world, and whatever switch they were being directed
It almost felt like one of the shenanigans games you can play on iRacing is two cars can be warped together leaving pit lane. Almost like one disconnected as the other got right there, like they ended up warped and it just booted them both.
The internet's weird. We'll have to send that one to iRacing and ask them what happened.
Please explain. Please. But it's only going to leave us with 9 cars left on the racetrack. Carter Lundy holding an almost 1 second lead over David Porcelli. Nicholas Daly about, let's see, going about a half second back. And 2.5 car lengths as they make their way down the front stretch. That is the Braboman Straight. As Daly goes new fastest lap. Man, and Porcelli makes up a ton of ground up Halewood on Lundy.
This race is playing out a lot different than what we saw earlier. Like now we have a proper three-way battle for the lead.
Yeah, the battles that we were seeing in the mid-pack last race are what we're seeing here at the front. Oh, as Lundy locks up a little bit into Druids, that's going to open the door. Porcelli just didn't have a chance to capitalize. Man, he is trying, though. Whole lot of hustle behind the wheel of the number 2 right now. Looking at the broadcast points entering tonight, USF2000, Lundy with a 14-point lead over Nicholas Daly, 15 over David Porcelli, who runs in 3rd. Lundy runs a little bit of a cutoff line through Druids that time. I don't think that's something I've noticed before out of Carter Lundy, is going full defensive in the line that he's choosing to run. He's usually the guy who, even when leading, he's on the attack.
Yeah, maybe he learned another skill and has gotten even better to just sit back there and chillax, kind of keep the car behind you instead of trying to run away from that.
And that's terrifying because so you him going full all the
Oh, Mike
wow,
Collins
that's
off the racetrack. Big. Yeah, big into the tires. We'll see how that car is going to be. Richard Matthews, great battle here with Rod Eskew. Oh, trouble for Rod Eskew as well. Let's bring up the replay here. Oh, he almost clipped the back end of Matthews. Big wiggle. So Eskew going to lose a bunch of time. That's going to separate these guys out. So now the only cars within 1 second are the top 3, and all 3 are within 1 second of each other. I say that, the gap goes to 1.026, but you know what I'm saying. Much shorter race this time as well. Already working lap 13 of 19. Interesting though, the laps are only about 3 seconds a lap slower. Last lap for Carter Lundy, 44.278. We were seeing laps in Indy Pro in the 41-second range.
At these smaller tracks, USFs aren't that far off the pace. You really have to get to the bigger track, huge straightaways to see a massive difference.
Yeah, like honestly, you could run both cars on this track and have it not be too much of a difference. It's like, depending on the driver behind the wheel, it could basically be pretty much the same no matter what.
Porcelli goes for a move for the lead. Carter Lundy's going to try and cross him.
Whoa. Oh, Porcelli's wide. What a move. God, that's so much fun.
And Nicholas Daly is right there, too.
Yeah, Daly might have the best view of this battle happening just up ahead. He's going to swing out
Lundy
wide.
Goes for the block.
Lundy slides out way wide. Let's go on board with Nicholas Daly. Oh, wow.
Lundy gets off the course. You saw a huge save. That's actually a run of the was just like this track. It's just been hostile, like the landscape that they're taking care of.
Yeah, well, they sort of just let the grass grow up through it. It is a runoff area. It's not like it's chewed up grass or anything. It's built to be runoff, but it is wide off the circuit. Oh, Porcelli was there. Lundy Trying the inside. Big block by Porcelli.
I love this view. It almost looks like you're in the sim, like actually racing. So I want to thank Nicholas Daly for giving us the opportunity to see that.
God, what a show once again out of the USF2000 cars of US Open Wheel D. Porcelli tries the cutoff line. He swings out. Lundy, big dive up the inside.
Whoa.
Oh, so close. Daly's going to get a run. Big block. That was abysmal by Lundy. Ooh, what a save by Daly. You think the blood pressure isn't up on these guys?
Yeah, tap into their smartwatches.
I was just going to say, could you imagine that? Being the first iRacing broadcaster to show the physical stresses? Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, they almost made contact again, but Lundy's going to have the inside line into Druids.
Not even.
Oh, they almost touch again. What a battle between Lundy and Porcelli. Last week, Lundy beat Porcelli in 2 races by a combined margin of 1/1000th of a second. Are they going to do it again here in Brands Hatch?
If they do that here, then it will be the most impressive.
Oh, Porcelli swings wide into Paddock Hill. White flag, 1 to go. Oh, they may have touched.
Act again.
What a battle. You can't get closer than that.
I'm at a loss for words right now.
Oh, side by side.
They're doing it again. Oh, what a move by Porcelli.
What a squeeze! Here we go. Here's
Oh, Porcelli wiggles. Lundy's there. Down to the line. They're drag racing. Do it again. Who is it?
I think it was
David Porcelli gets the win at Brands Hatch by 17/1000ths of a second. They did it again.
Hey! 3 races in a row. Wow.
Holy cow, what a finish. Let's see, we're going to try this from, let's see, we'll do it from the drone camera here. And we'll do it at 1/8 speed too, quite frankly, because... Well, okay, let's... All right, we're going to speed this up here because that pass was absolutely incredible. However, now here, now let's slow this down.
And there wasn't that touch of contact. I think he had it.
Yeah, oh, man, the tiniest bit of contact out of Clark. Down the front, straight away, the drag race to the line. Once again, an incredible finish between David Porcelli and Carter Lundy.
You can see Lundy had a huge run.
Wow. There it is at the line. How about a front wing and half a tire? Separating Carter Lundy from David Porcelli. Wow. I can't believe they did it again. Absolutely incredible racing. Let's bring up our race winner here as we get the everything queued up here for the instant replays. But oh my goodness, once again, David, you and Carter go absolutely ballistic on the final lap of a race. This time, 1 week ago, it was 2 defeats by 1/1000th total. Tonight, you pick up the win by 17,000ths total. How many more times do you guys want to do this season? Because we love it.
Oh man, we're having a blast, and I really hope you guys are enjoying watching it. That race was tough. Carter definitely had pace on me, and I had to run really defensively, but I'm glad that I was able to make it happen.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch you guys battle, because as the race went on, it was like Carter was ahead. You made a gutsy pass into Druids to take the lead. He was immediately on the attack again. And then over those last couple of laps, you guys were passing everywhere in places that I didn't think you could necessarily pass around Brands Hatch.
Yeah, we ended up too wide for a majority of a lap there. So I just think what happened was we started the race in a corner where you can race, which would be like turns 1 and 2. And it just carried on through the rest of the track. I cannot believe we didn't come together. I was rewatching the replay. The closing rates that we had, how close we were. You know, like I've been racing in the series for a long time, and I haven't seen close racing like that where the cars are coming together so quickly. Usually we're a bit more progressive, but Carter's aggressive, and I gotta give him his medicine in order to secure the win. So yeah, man, what a race. I'm just so elated I was able to take home the win there. Such a blast.
That one was impressive. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to make up a ton of ground. You did make up a little bit in the points. It was 15 entering the night in the broadcast championship. That will be cut down to 12. But we're only 5 weeks in. There's still a long time to go.
Yeah, a lot of work to do. I missed the oval week, so that's factoring into it right now. And I'm sure by the time we're through with our 12 weeks, it'll be neck and neck, just like it has been for the past 3 seasons. I'm really looking forward to the battle.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us twice here tonight. Congratulations. And before we let you go, do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous again.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Team Watson Racing and Satellite Racing. Thanks to National Racing Network for an awesome broadcast every week. Hi to the family. And thanks so much for the win dubs, guys. So, yeah, really looking forward to the rest of the season here.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here. And now let's bring in our runner-up finisher. Last week, you beat him twice by 1,000th of a second combined. This week, it's 17,000ths. You guys must like hanging out together. Fantastic race, Carter, and congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we weren't as friendly as we were to each other and everybody else in the server, then we wouldn't really like hanging around each other too much with those finishes. But yeah, it was a close race. The last 2 laps were really close. On the last lap there into the fast left-right chicane, I just tried holding it on the outside, but there was a lot of understeer from there, and I had to turn in. If I wanted to make the corner, I'd had to turn in a lot earlier, which I just didn't really have the experience turning in from the outside there. So it was tough to try and hold it there. And then David got ahead, but he just went a little bit too deep out of the final corner, and I got alongside in the grass, which if there was grass a foot to the left, I would have won because it just slowed my momentum a little bit. But we finished that one really tight.
Yeah, doing it over and over again. And quite frankly, I know Patrick said this last week, but the absolute nonchalantness of, yeah, it was a race, good things happened, and we did a thing. Does your blood pressure go up at all in these moments? I mean, I'm over here, we're screaming like a bunch of idiots, full pucker factor Zulu, and it seems like you're just very calm after these things.
Yeah, well, during those final 2 laps, you definitely feel your heart rate getting up a little bit and your body shaking or whatever. But
we're done now. The race is done, and I'm just looking forward to watch the third period of the Blackhawks game. To be honest.
All right, buddy. Well,
Go Hawks,
we'll,
please.
we'll let you get out of here to enjoy the ice hockey. But before we let you go, though, do all the sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yep. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Last season, this season, I can't believe we're already done with week 5. It's just gone by right the snap of your fingers. So we're already almost halfway there, and it's been I've missed a couple of races, but the ones I've been here so far have been great, and we're gonna keep that up for the rest of the season. We're gonna keep that up for the Nürburgring next week, and thanks to Team Watson Racing for the Indy Pro setups, which was the race before this. They provide the best Indy Pro setups on the platform. So thanks to them, and thanks to all the viewers, and good night.
All right, Carter, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And now let's bring in our third place finisher tonight, Nicholas Daly. You had the best seat in the house for this battle. Talk us through what you saw and what you could have possibly done, because it seemed like every time you saw a hole and went for it, either David or Carter was there to just block it off and fill it.
Yeah, they were battling pretty hard in front of me, man. That was fun to watch. But yeah, it's like sometimes whoever was in front, like David would go super defensive, and then Carter would follow and then pop out kind of at the last second. So I couldn't really break deep on the outside either, because Carter was jumping out like right in front of me. But yeah, no, it was so much fun to watch. I'm sure you guys really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was just saying to Carter, we're up here screaming like idiots in the booth. How does that affect you physiologically behind the wheel? Because obviously when you're in the battle, yes, the blood pressure is going to go up, the heart rate's going to be a little faster. But what's it like when you're the third car in line, where you're kind of in no man's land of, if they wreck, you're going to run into them, but you got to be close enough to take advantage and at the same time be ready to capitalize if it happens?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. There's a few times where I guess like David made a mistake in turn 1, but I wasn't close enough to take advantage. And like you could see the first several laps in the race, Carter was locking up in turn 2, but I guess David just wasn't quite close enough to really make anything of it. And yeah, it's so hard when you're the third car, because when there's 2 cars going side by side in front of you, they're kind of taking up all the track space. So there's not really a lot of places to go.
Yeah, the lot of places to go, but nowhere to be. Congratulations on a couple of podiums here tonight, Nicholas. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us. And before we let you go, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in again.
Yeah, shout out to Downforce Racing. And shout out to you guys for putting on a great broadcast. And thank you to all the viewers for watching.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you
guys.
much. We appreciate you coming to hang out. And, man, I'll tell you what, boys, we got it again. The U.S. Open wheel doubleheader never ceases to disappoint. David Porcelli wins them both tonight, James, in 2 completely different fashions. Dominates the first race and is absolutely fighting and gouging with Carter Lundy in race number 2.
Yeah, like, it's hard to beat someone that can win in any fashion. Anyone can win when they're dumped in the field, but if you can go just pound for pound, shot after shot, taking every counter punch and come out on top, like, those guys are almost impossible.
Well, I'll tell you what here, Bizzle. Once again, great show. Now as we look ahead a little bit, next week we go to the Nürburgring, where I don't know that we're going to see this, but if Carter Lundy and David Porcelli can do this again at the Nürburgring, I will be sold that the USF2000 is the best car on the iRacing platform.
It definitely is. It's almost as fun as the old Star Mazda. I still like the Star Mazda better, but that's just because I'm a rotary junkie. If they can do that at the Nürburgring, and I want to see it for the full lap, all the way side by side through flood plots, getting airborne, I want to see them go side by side through the carousel, and then absolutely drag race and swap draft down that big straightaway. Maybe I should just write this and turn this into a movie and we reenact it, because I think it'd be super cool. Do the old Fast and Furious. We'll do it at 25 miles an hour on the pit limiter, and then we'll fast forward the footage like 8 times.
Yeah. We need highlight reels every week to air between these two races. Although at this point, it would just be Porcelli and Lundy battling. But man alive, again, just incredible racing out of U.S. Open Wheel, both C and D class cars tonight. Tomorrow, I think we're going to get more of the same. The Camel GT Happy Hour kicking off what I'm going to call blue and white weekend. We may even change up the color scheme on the graphics to fit. If you go to that ugly university in Columbus, Ohio, you still suck. It is currently 10:37 in the East, and Michigan still sucks. It's Penn State blue and white weekend. I will be out of town, but after we get off the air for Camel GT tomorrow, looking forward to some time away and quite frankly, a little bit of golf too. But with that, time for us to get the heck on out of here. For James Watson and Patrick Byrne, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. We are looking forward to seeing you all again tomorrow afternoon for Camel GT. Until then, have a great night, everybody.